Hello my friends, it's Rachel Archelaus, founder of the Intuitive Art Academy and Sephirus Press, and I'm combining those roles today to bring you a video about 9 ways a book can make you money. Some of these you might be familiar with, but others are mostly just used by the publishing industry. But if you think about it, their whole livelihood of a company is built on book sales. And so they know all the different ways to spread a message, to get buyers all over the world, and I'm going to share those with you today. So there's probably at least one in here that you've never heard of, and they're all accessible to you. So even if you do a self-publishing run, you can still use these industry ways, and I'll tell you how. Number 1. The first one's the most obvious. You can make money from your book by selling it directly yourself or by uploading it to online sellers. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble, they'll all pick your book up if you do something like CreateSpace or Ingram Spark. That sends out your book to all kinds of online sellers, and you don't have to do anything extra to get them there. Just opt into their distribution program. And obviously you can order books on your own and sell them in classes or on your website, person to person, however you want to. So you can make money from your book by selling it directly or through online sellers. And that's probably the easiest way to go. The second way is a little more indirect, but once you're an author, you can leverage that by getting speaking engagements and teaching engagements. A lot of times, especially for me, when I'm filling out proposals, they want to know if you've written the book on it. They want to know if you're an expert in your field, and a lot of people use having a book as that marker. Once you've written a book, it opens a lot of doors to paid gigs that you probably couldn't have gotten otherwise. Number 3 is what people refer to as using your book as a business card. So you can have a book and inside of it mention what you do for a living and have your book refer customers, clients, and students to you. The last chapter of my book, it has case studies about my certified intuitive artist, and it does invite people to join the program. Now, I did get one weird review on Amazon for doing that. They were like, beware, this book is just trying to scam you into doing this thing. But having that in there doesn't invalidate all the amazing info in the book, and it won't for you too. So if you've been worried about promoting yourself, in a book, don't make the whole book about you. You want to make the majority, 90% of the book, about them and teaching what you have to say or your method. And then at the end, you're more than free to talk about what you do. And I have gotten a lot of students from that book. They read the book, they get to know what we do, they see that there's another opportunity, and they come in. So don't let anybody scare you away from doing that. So number 4 is more about how you sell the book. So if you use an online shopping cart system, like I use Simplero, you can have an upsell and you can have a product add-on. Let me explain both of these to you because they can really add to your revenue if you're already selling things online. When I was doing the pre-order campaign for my signed copies of Intuitive Art, I would offer the book for sale, and then after they pay, there's another screen that says, would you like to receive this course at a discount? And a lot of people took me up on that. And so they would buy the book for $20 or $25 with shipping, and then they would see that screen and they could buy this course for $99, and then they would say yes. So you can imagine having all of those $99 sales really added to the success of my book launch. Now, obviously, it's not mandatory that you do this, but it can be an awesome way to either offset the cost of publishing or just to add to your revenue. So that would be called an upsell. Now, certain software is equipped for doing that, but you could also do it in a more manual way if you weren't set up like that with Simplero. The other thing you could do is if you're selling all kinds of your regular things or services, usually there's a way to add an optional product right on the checkout page. I think they call this an order bump in Simplero. So I will often write optional add-on so that people know they don't have to purchase the book when they're buying a class or a session or something like that. So it'll say optional add-on, that it'll talk about my ebook clarity bundle, and I'll have the price of $9.99. And then if they want to purchase it, they just click and it adds the total to their order, and then it delivers the file to them automatically. So it's really an effortless way to make some more money, to add more revenue to an order, and people like it, right? People are buying the book. So we're just making it easier for them. So that is Upsell and Order Bump. So the rest of these may be things that you haven't thought of yet. The first one of those is selling the foreign rights of your book for translations. So every single year there is the Frankfurt Book Fair, and that is the largest foreign rights book market in the world. If you send your book there, this year it's digital, so there's just a huge database of books instead of all of the books in one building. So it's even easier and cheaper this year, actually. So all kinds of publishers from all over the world are looking for titles to add to their lists, and often that includes translating it into a different language. So last year I sent my book to the Frankfurt Book Fair, and it got attention from a German publisher. This year I sent it, I don't know who is going to want it. So you never know what's going to happen. Actually, my friend Maya, who just passed away, but we love her non-physicalness, she had a book at the Frankfurt Book Fair a few years ago, and it got picked up by a conglomerate who does books for elementary schools, and they ordered, thousands of copies of it, and kind of took care of all the reprinting and everything, and she got a sizable check from that. So all kinds of good things can happen from sending your book to the Frankfurt Book Fair, even if you don't know why you're sending it. You know, you don't have a specific country in mind, or you don't have a specific right to your book that you want to sell. I will tell you at the end of this video how to do that easily, so stay tuned. Now this one I have not done personally, but it does happen. Selling the option for TV or film from your book. I know you know a lot of books that have been turned into film or TV. So if you have a story that could easily be one of those things, you can look into getting a rights manager to do some research for you, or finding a scout or finding an agent to work on your behalf. Deals do get done, and if your book has already sold a bunch, it is much more likely than just some random screenplay to get picked up, because what does Hollywood want? They want success. They want to know that a story is appealing to a lot of people. You do not have to write your own screenplay. They just want the book, they want the stats. Don't be discouraged if your book hasn't sold yet. If it's the right story and if it's what they're looking for, they'll listen to you. So again, I haven't done this personally, but I definitely do hear about it happening all the time. You can turn the content of your book into a course. Even if you don't have a nonfiction book, if you were writing about overcoming a challenge, or if there's characters in the book that people really relate to, you can create bigger content around that you can sell. Even though the book is a lower priced item usually, if there's anything that you feel like you could expand on, you can sell it in a course. You can record yourself ahead of time, or you can have a live class, whatever is easier for you, whatever is more exciting for you, and give that to your readers, or advertise it online somewhere, make some ads about it. I found so much success with this. It's really fun for me to teach, and I love to talk and interact with people, and so having a course and a book, I feel, is just a natural extension. It's also a really good way to make money. In that same theme of talking and expanding the content, you can turn the content of your book into a podcast. It doesn't have to be an hour long every single week. You can record whatever length you want and in whatever frequency you want. And if you put it on Anchor, you make about $0.01 per listen in the beginning, because they offer you an option to record a little commercial for them and stick it at the beginning of your podcast, so that every single listen is monetized, which is really nice. Check out Anchor FM. I will put a link in the description of this video, in fact, for you to check out. I use them for my Intimate Alien podcast. It's really easy, and yeah, another way to expand your content and your audience. Finally, you can sell your book wholesale to libraries and bookstores. Now, this may be a way to sell niche books or poetry books, which can be hard to sell if you're not really well known. I publish a lot of poetry here, and academic libraries, believe it or not, are big buyers of poetry and really niche topics. So there are ways to get your book out to entire lists of any kind of library you want. If it's elementary, middle school, regular public libraries, academic libraries, and even bookstores. You've got tons of independent bookstores that you can actually buy a spot for your book so that it's like mailed out to thousands of them at a time. I do this frequently for the books that I publish just because it's a really great way to get exposure, and I've gotten amazing reviews out of it. I've gotten sales, and my book is in libraries all over the world. And it's funny, not even because of this, but okay, so here's a bonus tip. If you do a galley stage with your book, which means you make a printed copy of it before it's completely done, sometimes it's called an advanced reader copy, an ARC, you can send that out ahead of time, usually about 3 months ahead of time, ahead of publication date, to reviewers, to bookstore reviewers and buyers, library reviewers, and they might pick up your book and put it in their publication, which then also goes to book buyers of libraries and bookstores. So I always do that for my publishing clients and for myself because it's a way to get ahead of publication and to get a lot of sales right when you go live. There's so many ways to sell your book. There's so many ways to make money from your book. And to be honest, I don't make my full-time living from book sales. Some people do. I more or less use it as an integrated part of my business. I do make money on it almost every single day, but I also have courses about it. I have a YouTube channel about it. I use the Independent Book Publishing Association services all the time to send my book out to book fairs and to get me on those emails that go out to the media and to book buyers. You don't need to be a publisher to join. You can be an author. So if you want help in doing all of that and you don't want to hire a publisher to do it, go over to the Independent Book Publishing Association and just check out what they've got to offer. You don't have to buy a membership in order to see what they have available as far as marketing help. So I love those guys. They are so amazing. And if you do join, I would absolutely love to connect with you there. That's it. That's a lot of information. It's a lot of ways to make money from your books. I hope it's expanded your mind and your view about what's possible for you. Writing a book is totally worth your effort and your time because it never dies. You know, you can keep it in publication as long as you want, especially if you're doing print on demand. The sky's the limit for you and your reach. My book, I think now is sold in over 31 countries, and not is sold, but has sold in over 31 countries, and it just keeps growing. So you're worth it. Get to it. Love ya, and we'll see you soon. Bye.